the feeling that comes up is, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough because I make 5K a month. I'm identified with this 5K a month version of myself, and it's dictating every single thing. Quasi here. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can reprogram your subconscious mind and really your unconscious mind, which largely keeps fighting against you. This video is going to be extremely crucial for you if you are someone who always self-sabotages, fights against themselves, and you know that you want something, your desires are in one way, but you always find some obstacle keeps getting in your way, whether this be in terms of business, you want to go out there and pitch your services, but you don't feel confident enough, whether this be in your other areas of your life, and you just feel that there's a disjunct. One part of you is in, but the other part of you is not, and you just can't see the other part. This video will show you how to go from the point of not knowing what this other part is to being in full control of it and functioning despite it, okay? So by the end of this video, I'm going to show you 3 key tools that you can use right now to completely reprogram yourself and have this unity within yourself and not have this battle between the two selves. Okay, this was something that was extremely crucial for me in my journey as an entrepreneur and growing my business, going from the belief of, oh, I'm only worthy of making 5K a month to, making 150K a month. Okay, I want you to stick around to the very end of this video because I do think you'll find this completely valuable. Before I begin this video, I want to quickly announce a couple of spots have opened up for the free one-to-one consult with me and my team for the Reality Mastery program. Okay, if you've been trying to sign up for this consult and you haven't found out spots, just wait till the end of the video for the announcement on how to sign up for that. And with that, let's get started with this video. So today I want to talk to you about what I like to call suspension of disbelief. This is a literary device, if you look at it, and it talks about how sometimes you'll see unrealistic things happen, right? But you're not able to accept it because of your own conditioned worldviews. Okay, your limited paradigm can only grasp certain things that have happened in the past, and that's why things that happen in the future that don't fit this, you're like, oh shit, what is this? This is unknown to me. So that's what we're going to do here. Learn to suspend that part of yourself that can't see it and accept it. And because of this lack of accepting of that part of yourself, you don't become open to opportunities. When you don't become open to opportunities, guess what? You can't capitalize on the opportunities and you're not seeing opportunities that are right under your nose, right? So to give you an example of that, I had a client who came in, he was at $0 a month for the past 2 months in his business. He has his own, he works with SaaS business owners and helps them grow, helps them get leads and helps them optimize their business so they can get more clients. His biggest problem back then was he was self-sabotaging in his sales calls. He didn't have enough certainty in his offer, but also he saw that he was just fighting against himself every single day. He couldn't see the opportunities that were right under his nose because he was focused on, guess what? Failure, failure, failure. Oh no, they're not buying from me. They're not buying from me. I can't close. For 2 months, it was absolute zero. And then he joined the program in the month of March. So January and February was $0 months for him. In the month of March, he did his first 15K a month. In April, he did his first 20K a month. Right? So we took him from that 0 to 15 and 20K. By the way, he had a proven business. He's made money in the past before. He did 5, maybe even 10K, but it was always inconsistent, right? What we saw the problem was him, but this unconscious part of him that always kept focusing on what's wrong. So what we call your reticular activating system, your RAS in your subconscious mind, okay? What this does is it forms these tinted shades which makes you focus on certain things and eliminate certain other things. Okay, and that's not serving you because this RAS gets programmed through years and years of experience and what you've built up and what you've accumulated in the form of memory. Okay, and because of that, if you start to think that you're not worthy and you're ugly, you're going to look for proof of where you are ugly. And every single word someone says, you're going to look for proof of where they're wronging you and calling you ugly. Someone could say something like, I don't know, oh, you look really nice today. And all you'll be able to think is, oh, I didn't look nice before. I didn't look nice yesterday. Oh, you look like you lost weight. And all you'll be able to think is, oh, you thought I was fat before, right? So this is how your mind works. It filters out for things that are positive and only filters in negative things that don't serve you, okay? So this is the big problem of mankind nowadays. We're consciously wanting something, but unconsciously another part of us is hindering us. So let's talk about how we can solve that problem and how I suffered with that. The big problem, again, is this conflict between your desires and your conditioning. Okay? There's a conflict between your desires and conditioning. You have one desire to go one particular direction, but your conditioning is pointing another way. Unless we get harmony in this, you'll never be able to move forward. Okay? If I were the 5K a month version of me, and I thought like the 5K a month version of me, where I held on to all of my investments and I was afraid to commit to programs and buy coaching, then I would still be that 5K a month version, right? But I had to evolve first within and take those leaps and risks that don't fit into my worldview. Then I could move forward. Understand? So in understanding that, that's how it affected me in my business. I was stuck for a very long time in 0 to 5K a month, 0 to 5K a month because I couldn't take those risks. Now that I want to move up from 150K a month to doing 300K a month, I have to become a different version. I have to become more of a leader rather than an individual performer and inspire my teammates, my colleagues, and my employees to perform better, right? So part of that is trusting someone with running the business, which is very much difficult. It's harder than it seems, but it's something that I have to get used to, right? But you don't always start off getting used to that at first. So how do we get used to that? How do we get used to handing off responsibility to someone else and allowing them to make a mistake? And that's what I want to talk about. If you look at this circle right here, okay, let's say this is your whole being, right? Within your whole being, there are different divisions of it. Your mind, let's call it. This part, let's call it the unconscious. 95% of your whole being is unconscious, okay? 5% of your being is conscious. Now, guess what? The barrier from conscious to unconscious, I'm rewriting this here, but the barrier to this barrier here that crosses over from the conscious to unconscious is crossed through the conscious mind, right? So it's possible for your conscious mind to influence your unconscious mind, which is what I'm trying to say. If you consciously focus on something and try to create habits, it eventually becomes an unconscious mechanism. So to give you an example, it's kind of like you playing the guitar, right? At first, you have to put so much effort into holding the strings right and then playing it, but then it becomes unconscious like muscle memory because you can't be conscious about every single thing, right? You can't be 100% conscious about every single thing, like your heartbeat, like X, Y, and Z. If you were, it would probably drive you nuts. Your heartbeat happens unconsciously. Your digestion process happens unconsciously. So what most people do is they always focus on the conscious part of it and try to influence the conscious part instead of influencing the unconscious part. The unconscious is influenced by repetition, by certain forms of certain stimuli, okay? And the thing I've seen, the most effective way to influence the unconscious is to have a harmony between your thoughts and emotions. That's when this gateway opens up. So if you think a thought and you feel correspondingly with that thought, your unconscious gets an imprint, okay? So let's say you think about something terrible happening and then you fear that, right? The thought is, oh no, something bad's gonna happen. And the fear follows with that. And then that makes you do certain things, your actions follow as well. And when that happens, it makes this imprint, this kind of memory. Whenever a similar experience pops up, it revives this in your unconscious and makes you and drives you to do those things again. In order to change this pattern, you've got to be conscious, okay? You've got to consciously choose. So this conscious mechanism is used to influence the unconscious. Most people don't know how to do it because they live unconsciously, okay? So I'm going to show you how to do that. How this affected me in my business is many different ways. First of all, I saw that I wasn't able to, pitch my services with confidence and certainty. I would always feel like I'm an imposter. Like, oh, what gives me the right to pitch this service to this business owner who's making more money than me? I had people who were millionaires and multimillionaires in the program who wanted to get guidance and just close the last bit, but I couldn't pitch my services with certainty, and that's why they could feel the lack of certainty coming from me and they wouldn't join and sign up with me. It's completely possible for you to sign someone who is past your level, right? But only if you know what problem you can solve for them. But instead of looking at it like that, I was always looking at myself. I always felt I'm not good enough to help this person. I got to be better first and then I can help this person. That's bullshit, right? But I started to believe that because it was deeply ingrained in my unconscious mind. So that's something I had to overcome as well. And this inferiority complex, comparing myself to others, all of these things weren't serving me, and I saw that these opportunities weren't present. Going back to that, the case of my client in the past, when he came into the program, what happened with him, you're going to see this in one of the interviews, by the way. I'll put it up here if the video hasn't been posted yet. But what happened with him was, once we helped him restructure his unconscious and focus on the right things and become more open him up a little bit, he started doing things and taking all of these leaps and opportunities that he previously didn't. Right? And some guy approached him and he said, oh, look, I can help you with your sales if you can help me with this. He was like, in the past, he wouldn't have taken that chance. He'd be like, oh, that's such a waste of my time. But he, took my advice and he did take that chance. And before that, he was correctly aligned anyways. And what happened as a result was that guy taught him methods to sell. And the next month he did 15K and then 20K. And then he also learned how to maintain his internal state from the Reality Mastery Program, which helped him even further. Right? So this is how it works. These opportunities, everything that you need to lead you to the goal that you want to get to is already right under your nose. You're the one who's self-sabotaging. You're the one getting in your own way. You just can't see it because you're unconscious all the time. Okay? So I hope all of that made sense. Now I want to share with you the 3 keys and the solution to this, to helping you step out of your cocoon right now and expand this comfort zone completely so you can go out there and become someone new. Key number 1, before you can go out there and be someone else, you must disidentify with who you are right now. And I'm not talking about, I must change, you must change, you're not perfect. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the characteristics. There are certain characteristics that are not serving you, okay? Your characteristics, your personality, your body, that's not you. Your mind, that's not you. We get identified with all of those meaningless things, but that's not you. Those are things that are available, that are there right now, but you can influence them, right? So the first thing to do is to disidentify with these personalities, these character traits. Basically disidentify with what you call as your smaller self, okay? Disidentify with self first. This is a woo-woo concept, but let's make sense of how you disidentify with yourself. Look at the thoughts you're having right now, right? The thoughts and the feelings, the predominant thoughts and feelings. Are they that of, I'm not good enough? Who thinks this? Take a step back from these thoughts and learn to watch them. Become conscious of them. When you become conscious of these thoughts and aware of these thoughts, and you take a step back and see the watcher of these thoughts as well, what happens is you start to see these thoughts as separate from you, okay? Thoughts are just happening. They're just coming. They're just happening. They're not you. But somewhere along the way, you've decided to latch on to them because they happen so close. Because you hear them every single day. This is why people try subliminals, right? Because they hear different things and then that influences the track of their thoughts. And then they identify with those new thoughts. So in order to step away from them, to disidentify from them, you have to learn to rest as that which that never changes. These thoughts are always going to change. These feelings are always going to change. What doesn't change? Take a step back and connect to that. I made a video up here, if you click on it and check it out, a process of self-inquiry. And it teaches you basically how to get to that center point so that you no longer identify with these transient things, but identify with something that's permanent. Okay, a simple way you can do that is look at yourself right now and look at this observer of these thoughts. Whenever you inquire about what's the next thought I'm going to have, the thinking process immediately stops. Then you ask, who thinks this? And what happens right there is a moment of bliss, peace, silence. And then you start to see, wait a second, these thoughts that are coming up, they're not me. Okay? These thoughts that are coming up, they're not me. If I can watch them, if I can see them, then they're not me. I am that which I cannot see. Okay? That's how you reach that place of stillness. And that's how you identify with the self. You have to continually do this every single day. Right? This doesn't really happen overnight. So why I'm talking about disidentifying with self is because this self contains this disbelief, right? This current self will contain all of these disbeliefs that you have. So let's call it disbelief as well. This is what I call suspension of disbelief. You don't have to believe anything right now. Just look at your disbeliefs. Look at them, not as them. What we do is we look as our beliefs. Right? So there is this observer and then this lens, which is the disbelief. But we look as this disbelief. Instead of at it, we look as it. That's the problem. So that's what we want to stop right now. We want to start looking at it. Look at all of your disbeliefs and let them be. Instead of trying to change them, just learn to observe them. When you learn to observe them, you learn to see them as not you. So anytime you have this limiting belief, right? When you think that, oh, maybe I'm not good enough for this, just ask, like, to whom does this occur? And immediately there's a separation between the two, right? And learn to just let that disbelief be without trying to change it. Because we get so identified with this and we see it as a problem, we see it as the enemy and we try to change them. It's natural to have disbeliefs because you're living in the world of identification. You know, you're going to identify, if you identify with something, you're disidentified with something else, okay? That's number one. I hope this made sense. I've tried my best to explain this. Leave me a comment if you have any further questions about it. Number two, make an assumption. Okay, you don't have to believe anything. You can't try to believe something you have no proof of. You know, you can't try to like convince your mind to believe something. It's useless. Assume, just make an assumption. Okay, assume ideal self and whatever it is and whoever it is you'd like to be, and move with consciousness. Okay, what do I mean by this? Whenever you're conscious, you can start to see the patterns of your unconscious mind. That's what I mean. When you see the patterns of your unconscious mind, you're no longer identified with them, right? So when you assume this ideal self, what happens is you're basically saying to yourself, okay, I'm going to suspend this disbelief. The feeling that I'm not good enough, it's coming up. Who's thinking this? To whom does this thought occur? Hold on. This isn't really me. This is just some pattern I've been living with. Okay? What does this version of myself that is confident and certain look like? So you must disidentify with something in order to identify with something else, especially if they're in conflict with each other, right? So when you make an assumption of this ideal self, you're first moving on faith and not belief, right? Don't try to believe something. Have faith first. Cultivate faith and trust first. Because what happens is faith is the very thing that gives birth to creation. Okay? Because there is faith, you can go out there and do the things that's necessary, that are not in your worldview right now, but maybe someone else has tried it in the past. You can try those same things with the same level of, or a similar level of conviction and still get the results from it, right? So assume that you are already the version that you'd like to be and go out there and do it anyways. So let's say you want to pitch this service. So I'm going to use an example of me pitching services to someone who's making more money than me and me making them a promise that says, you know what, I can help you with this, maybe I can help you grow your business, but I feel inferior because I'm not making as much money. I'm making 5K a month, he's making 20K a month. How do I help this guy, right? So in thinking about that, I'm like, okay, the feeling that comes up is I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough because I make 5K a month. I'm identified with this 5K a month version of myself and it's dictating every single thing, okay? I watch that as separate from me. This is true in the moment right now. This is not necessarily true forever. I assume the ideal self, the person who helps anyone, the person who is worthy of helping that 20K a month version of himself, and I look at it from a dispassionate point of view. Okay, it's no longer emotional and hypey. I look at it dispassionately. Okay? And I look and see, all right, well, I make 5K a month, but that's irrelevant to whether or not if I can help this person. Coaches of soccer players have never played soccer before, yet they're coaches. You see what I'm doing? You see what my mind is doing? It's looking for ways to justify overcoming that limiting belief, overcoming that unconscious belief. As you watch them, first of all, they become less sticky. And now you can move towards how can I help this person? Because now, if you're not thinking about how you can help this person, you're in your own head. You're like, oh, what's the next thing I can say? Right? So now I'm like, how can I help this person? Can I help this person go from 20K a month to whatever they want to make? Okay, this person makes 20K a month. That's irrelevant. What's the internal problem they're struggling with? Can I help this person with that? Then I'll honestly tell them that. yeah, look, I can help you with this. And maybe this will solve your problem. Do you want to give it a try? Yeah, let's give it a try. Cool, let's do it. You don't have to fake some sort of certainty, right? You don't have to like be all dancing monkey and pitch them something you don't even believe in, because they will see through the fake sincerity. Okay, that's how you do it. And then what happens, number 3, is the longer term solution. Then you flood yourself with confirmation. Okay? Yes, agreed. The ideal state is, oh, he makes 20K a month, I make 100K a month. I can just easily pitch this service because I'm more confident, right? But that doesn't come overnight. That's something you've got to work towards, right? You can't fake that certainty without proof in the mind. So what you do is you flood yourself with confirmation. You're like, oh, well, look, I've helped this person who works 20K a month, helped that other person with 50K a month going through something similar. Therefore, I can tell this person confidently, hey, look, we have so many people in the program who've gone from 20K a month to 150K a month, who've gone from this to that by solving this problem. I think we could help you too. But before I couldn't do that because I didn't have that proof, because I was venturing into something new. Do you see what I'm trying to say? You have to understand the stage you are at right now and do what's necessary at this stage. Okay? And with that, I conclude this video. I sincerely hope this was helpful. Let's do a quick recap of what we talked about in this video. Essentially, we talked about suspension of disbelief, how to reprogram your subconscious mind to a point where you slowly build up to a new level of conviction without getting hindered and stopped at this current level. Okay, and we talked about the biggest problem arises because there is a conflict in what you desire and there is a conflict in who you've conditioned to be. If we don't solve this conflict, it will forever be there. How we solve this conflict is in the 3-step solution I outlined to you. But before we get to that, this affected my business, this affected every single area of my life because I felt inferior. Then you look at like your conscious and your unconscious mind and how to access the unconscious. Again, patterns, proof, it becomes a habit, guitar string, eventually it becomes a part of it, becomes muscle memory. Doing sales for your company, it becomes muscle memory. Making money becomes muscle memory. And the 3 steps we talked about are, number 1, you must disidentify with this disbelief. You must suspend this disbelief. Don't try to change it. Suspend it. Let it be. Okay? When you let something be, you watch it, right? Only when you watch it, you let it be. You don't try to interfere with it. When you become the observer, that's when you let it be. Because if you're trying to change something, you must become identified with it first in order to change it. So just let it be and then choose something different. Don't ever try to change something. Don't try to change your beliefs. Choose new ones. Number 2, assume this ideal self. Once this disidentification process is happening, again, this is nuance. You can't just say, okay, today I'm going to disidentify with my beliefs. And tomorrow I'm going to assume this new self and become... No, it's not like that. It's just all instantaneous, right? You just look at this current self who you don't want to become and who you do want to become, and you focus on that. So you withdraw your attention by letting whatever it is be without engaging with it. And then you assume this ideal self and you move with consciousness. Why I emphasize moving with consciousness is it's easy to fall back to old patterns. Right? It's easy to fall back to this old patterns and it's easy to go back to that unconscious self. When you become conscious for a certain period of time, you can create new patterns in your unconscious. Number 3, flood with confirmation. This strengthens this identity you're trying to create. When you have confirmation, belief, the final nail in the coffin for belief is there. It's like, okay, well, here's proof. Right. I believe it. I'm a good coach. I believe it. Look, successful clients. And with that, I conclude this video. Thank you so much for watching. I sincerely hope this was helpful. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit that little bell there so you're notified of any new video that I put out. Also, as I mentioned before, the link to working with me, the free consult for the Reality Mastery Program, is now open. Make sure you click on the link in the description below to sign up for that. Who we work with are typically as follows. People who are trying to take their lives, their businesses to the next level, entrepreneurs. You're maybe at 5K a month, you want to scale up 10K a month and above. And what you're seeing is the biggest problem right now is not the tactics and strategies. You have all of that, you've had all of that, but you're seeing internally something is missing that's preventing you from using these right tactics and strategies the way that they need to be used, or even finding the right tactics and strategies. You're unclear. You're stuck at a dead-end job and you've tried the different entrepreneurial attempts. It's not working. If that sounds like you, and you feel that really you need an internal complete restructuring, then I invite you to click on this link in the description below to sign up for the free consult. Hope I see you there. The free Facebook group is open for you to take advantage of. Again, we're limiting it to high quality people only, people who are entrepreneurs, people who are professionals, and we want to keep it very, very valuable for the members who are in there. This is completely free for you to access, but you have to fill up a 3-question survey. The link for that is also in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time. Peace.